It's updated with a hurricane, well, soon to be Hurricane Idalia. It's not quite there yet. It's a 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm right now. Uh, this is just, I'm looking over this is some of the technical stuff that comes from the National Hurricane Center. Uh, and it does not look good. I was stating on social media and the like that I was noticing how the convection with this system kept developing and redeveloping, but it kept doing it further and further and further south, it would appear. And because of that, it would spend more time over water. And it still hasn't quite made it yet to that hurricane status. It's still trying to develop an eye wall for that to officially become a hurricane. And but the official forecast has this thing potentially doing some rapid intensification over the Gulf Stream. I'm going to show you the Gulf Stream here in a minute. Possibly up to a 120-mile-an-hour hurricane, which would be a major hurricane. That is a Category 3 hurricane. I thought I had all this up. Okay. Here's some of the we're going to have some storm surge with this thing, and where this storm is going, according to the latest consensus and what I think it's going to do too, it's an area off the west coast of Florida that is very, very, very susceptible to storm surge. And so it's, again, not very good news. This right here, this is the Gulf Stream. Now, you might have seen me on social media sharing an image that showed over the past 7 days that the Gulf has been a little cooler than it has been. Now, I want to come out here publicly and say that's an observation. That has nothing to do with the actual storm itself, but it's something to notice for now and as we're going forward, because we are going to start to see these temperatures come down. With that said, this Gulf is still bathwater right now. There are exceptions. I would say it has cooled a little bit over here off the along the Texas coast where Harold came through. But here's where Idalia is going. This right here, and for that matter, it's also connected to this bathwater down here. This is the loop current right here that goes south of Florida and then goes up the Atlantic coast. This hurricane is traversing this area. It's basically in this area down here right now. So this hurricane's got all the, I keep calling it a hurricane. It's not a hurricane yet officially. But Idalia is going to have an opportunity to rapidly strengthen over the Gulf, particularly as it traverses between the Caribbean, the warm Caribbean waters, and then on up into the Gulf Stream. Now you will notice that the waters do cool off somewhat toward the west coast of Florida. It's still very, very warm. It's just this water out here is just it's high octane fuel. So what it'll probably do, it'll have this opportunity to go through a period of rapid strengthening, which in turn will not only get it over the hump as a hurricane, but also take it into major hurricane status. And it is forecast now to be a major hurricane at landfall at 120 miles an hour, as we said. This right here is very concerning. Now, I looked at this yesterday. This is a shear map. And there's been kind of a little bit of a lingering trough over the Gulf of Mexico from the last frontal passage we had. And this area right here, this area, where Idalia is heading for, had a lot more shear yesterday. Well, this is the latest analysis, and it's a shame that Idalia isn't coming into west to Florida right now, because there's good 25 knots of shear sitting right there on the coast, and that would definitely affect the storm. And you could see here maybe signs of another little piece in the jet stream that could cause some shear as well. However, this is all going to pass over this system. And this system is going to be put into a lighter shear environment until the next trough comes. But so this is not good news. This is not good news at all. There is a window here for this thing to come right up through the gap there, and potentially rapidly strengthen before it reaches coast. There's massive Hurricane Franklin now, 145 miles an hour, I think it is. Look at that eye. Just a classic hurricane there. Classic intense major hurricane there. That sucker is a sight to behold. I want to show you this. Here's where we come with the steering currents over the next couple of days here, as we bring the storm into the somewhere along the western, potentially along the panhandle of Florida here during the next several days. As we move this forward here, of course, there's Franklin sitting out there, east Florida. That could be a threat for Bermuda too, by the way. Zoom in here a little bit. Try to get this thing going. Okay, there we go. All right. So here comes the storm right here. This is the Euro, which wants to take it somewhere pretty close to Tampa Bay, if not a little north of there. Now, deviations in track are going to be common, and ever so slightly to the west or to the east or anything could make all the difference in the world about landfall impacts. So there is kind of a large cone here. Well, there's always a large cone of uncertainty that we have to watch with these systems, but this one, it's going to be very, very crucial. Here's the next trough that the discussion was mentioned. As you can see here, as the storm gets north, it will get pulled by that trough and then go along the Carolina coast and then out to sea and probably fall apart pretty rapidly. This is a pretty strong trough, so it's probably going to do a number on it. And then you see there's Franklin as well. Franklin's also going to be carried out to sea toward Bermuda, and I'm telling you, Franklin could be a really, really bad storm for Bermuda. I feel for them guys right now, but this is not going to be no slouch heading for Florida either. This is we're most likely looking at a major hurricane making landfall. Again, there's Franklin right. Look, that's a sight to behold. That is about as well developed of a hurricane as you'll ever see. Lots of cold thunderstorm tops around the center. Maybe a little bit of degradation there in the southwestern corner there as time goes on. Maybe a little dry air getting in there or something. And now, of course, when they get this intense, they can also go through eye wall replacement cycles as well. So who knows, that might be going. Here's Idalia, right? The latest on Idalia in terms of the satellite view. And let's zoom in here. Because there's the Yucatan Peninsula over there. Here's the west coast of Cuba right there. And this storm has been doing, like I said, it's been doing for the last 2 nights, and it's still doing it now, where it develops this, it'll develop, there'll be a big blow up of thunderstorms, and then it kind of collapses, and it'll form another one. I will say this latest blow up right here has been fairly consistent. Now we're going to watch it. As you can see, it's going to get kind of close again, getting close to the coast of the western side of Cuba there, which could disrupt it a little bit. That's still yet to be determined because, mind you, this thing has not formed a closed eye wall yet. So it still has got some organization that it's going through. But it's definitely a formidable tropical storm right now. And is on the verge of becoming a hurricane. And I think it will once that eye wall gets completely formed. We've got to watch this interaction with Cuba right there. That could have some negating impacts with it, at least in the short term. But time will tell on that. So looking over here, again, here's the track, the latest update track from the National Hurricane Center, forecast to be Category 1 up to a Category 2 by, so this Category 1 here is by about 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time. This is 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Category 2 at 105 miles an hour, and then they're expecting major hurricane status. From what it looks like now, that would be Wednesday morning around 2 o'clock in the morning, sometime there, with a wind speed of 120 miles an hour, making landfall again somewhere. And I don't have the cone up in here, but basically, if you go either side of a line, well, I can put the cone up here real quick so you guys can see that right here real quick. Here's the 120-hour cone, and again, you're dealing. You could go either side of this. That's why they have this uncertainty. It could go to the left or to the right. And see, the rightmost, the eastmost there gets it awfully close to Tampa. So they're definitely in that cone right now. All the way up to Hermosa Springs, up to Perry, Cedar Key, even up here toward Mexico Beach, where, yes, Hurricane Michael made landfall. So, going to watch out for that. Something else we're going to have to watch out as well is this right here. I'm going to pull this radar view up right here. You see some storms there northwest of Panama City. It's kind of your run-of-the-mill type thunderstorms. But in these outer rain bands, we're going to have to that come on shore, we are going to have to watch for a tornado threat, and there will be, as there is with any intense hurricane, there will that's making landfall or the rain bands are coming in, that there is a chance of tornadoes. So that's the update right now. Now check this out. Yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. That is an inland tropical storm warning all the way to Orlando. So this is because there will be some sustained tropical storm force winds potentially all the way up to Orlando, SeaWorld, Disney World, you name it. And even in the east coast of Florida here, still got tropical storm watches all the way down to Palm Bay, north of Port St. Lucie. That's a marine warning. So, and again, deviations in the track will make the difference with the storm. And, of course, it's eventually going to go northeast off the southeast coast as well. So people up here like toward Jacksonville, they're going to have potentially tropical storm force winds. Bottom line is this is going to be a major hurricane, most likely now for the western coast of Florida, possibly up into the Big Bend area, depending on any track deviations. And it's going to be a very formidable rain threat. There's going to be life-threatening flash floods from this thing, regardless of where it makes landfall over a large area, even into the southeastern portion of the United States. Going to have to keep the big thing, particularly on this part of the landfall, is a storm surge, and I've seen some maps that are getting scary. In some cases, well over 12 feet in terms of a storm surge, depending, number one, how big the storm gets, how fast or slow it is, how much time it has to build up the water over the Gulf. It's a dangerous storm, and it's going to be a dangerous storm as it comes in. You need to stay tuned to your local media outlets, internet sources, or wherever you can. This forecast track and intensities will change even now because there is still some disagreement among the modeling, which is not uncommon when you have a system that's still kind of in the process of organizing, and the storm still hasn't developed a complete eye wall yet. So now once the eye wall gets going and it maintains that, then we'll probably see these models come a little bit more into agreement. They're getting there, but they're not quite there yet. So stay safe, guys.